Riot doing this essentially passes on pressure to the teams.
They have 2 weeks. If they don't come to an agreement, the LCS is cancelled and no teams go to Worlds.
This year, Riot gave every single team $3 million in revenue shares.
Is the walkout by the Players Association in the LCS a sign of hope of giving players more of a voice in the esports industry?
They're just paycheck thieves that just get money for free.
Or will the franchise squad succumb to the pressure when it comes to fielding new rosters in order to prevent the upcoming season from getting canceled? Let's go ahead and get down and do what it do. You're in the esports space, even just casually as a fan, there's a good chance that you've at least heard something about the walkout going on in the LCS. But if you think that this is only going to cause waves in the League of Legends scene, you're sadly mistaken, especially because if we look back at what has gotten us here, and I'm not just talking about over the course of the last few weeks or even months, there's a lot that you can link to even recently franchised leagues. And if the biggest esports league in North America can collapse, that should cause some concerns. Because what's really interesting is when you look at some of the requests that came from the Players Association, which, by the way, a little bit different than a union, one of the first requests that really jump off the page to me is that they want to go to a Valorant-styled relegation system as it's been described. But we did see LCS do several types of relegation styles over the course of several seasons in the previous years. From a single best-of-5 series between that top Challengers League team and that bottom Pro League team to a full tournament of multiple teams from each league to an automatic relegation system as well. And what's kind of funny looking back at it now, back when they were doing like the different types of relegation tournaments and games and things, do you know what one of the biggest concerns was? A flaw in the system where teams were able to rely on just outright being better mechanically, which was problematic because this led to a decrease in like tactics and strategies, right? And favored actually one-trick strategies that put teams at a disadvantage when they did go up against other countries.
And like this is a play that every other region's top team, if they make this play, will try to kill everyone. That's just not how NA plays.
Or I don't know, maybe a particular one-trickable character getting nerfed into absolute oblivion, causing a quote-unquote role problem for the player that was notorious for being an absolute slayer on said character. And this isn't something that just happened overnight. Maybe you don't watch a lot of League of Legends like me. I know I feel dumber than a box of rocks every time I try and sit down and catch up. I was definitely late to the craze. But in case you were wondering how we got here, back on May 6th, it was rumored that it was voted unanimously to drop the requirement that LCS teams would have to field a challengers team. So on May 12th, there was actually an official statement from the LCS mentioning several changes that would be coming this upcoming season, including that aforementioned NACL change. The LCS Players Association claimed that as many as 70 players, coaches, and managers, staffs of the team, stuff like that, would lose their jobs overnight. Let's not forget that this comes off the back of a pretty turbulent start to the year as well for the esports industry as a whole, right? I mean, several organizations closing their door, even recent talks of TSM considering selling their LCS franchise spot. The requirement for a team in the league to also field an academy team just makes no freaking sense. The whole system is kind of flawed at that point. Like, what are the players in the Challengers League playing for? A hope that maybe someone in their role specifically falls off enough that a team in the big league hopes to scoop them up, Because it's not like Valorant's Challenger League where a whole team earns a call up to the big leagues, which inevitably is going to cause a whole bunch of complacency.
I can't play with him. I've been here for 5 years. You've been here for 5 minutes.
Organism pop up in the middle.
Into the middle?
And B, it creates an incredibly expensive entry point for any new organization that tries to enter the scene and bring fresh storylines to help build the brand. Whereas right now in other leagues, newer orgs can help come in and breathe a fresh breath of life to the scene, right? Because you see, going into the season, it seemed to be a pretty unanimous thought that when it came to Ascension, the end of year promotion tournament, that the 2 spots for NA already had the Guard and M80's names on them. Streamer and content creator Disguised Toast put together a roster that would qualify for challengers through that open qualifiers at the start of the season. And with Disguised Toast's popularity came an instant increase in viewership every time he popped live to support his team. The only problem, the team lost more than it won. Now in Split 1, DSG did qualify for that mid-season face-off, but they got swept in back-to-back matchups. And then heading into Split 2, DSG shocked the Valorant world. They picked up El Diablo. It was role issues and not performance issues that were cited when Cloud9 released them. A lot of speculation though was that Cloud9 was no longer able to afford EA's price tag. Either of those would be rather indicative of some of the problems that I had mentioned earlier about the current state of the competitive scene, right? In regards to some of the concerns that League had about its competitive scene before they made the change to the current franchise model. In NA Challengers, we have a team that shows the exact benefit of what the Valorant style promotion relegation system can offer, right? When we take a look at Moist Moguls, a team that's now under that Moist banner, they earned their way into the Challengers League in that same open qualifier that DSG did under the name Team Breakthrough. At this point, the Moist Moguls are just 2 series wins away in that NA Challengers playoffs from earning themselves a trip to Ascension, a 6-team tournament which will grant the winner a 2-year guaranteed slot in the Valorant Champions Tour. But realistically, I do think that the open door policy for VCT's Challenger circuit is a whole heck of a lot better than the funnel system that I think the LCS was intending to make the NACL unfortunately created a bottleneck at the top of NA when it comes to talent. I mean, let's be honest, the complacency of people just being happy being a part of the Academy League, owners putting friends on the squad and there being open concerns about that from creators dating back some time now. And let's not mention the lack of success from the region when it comes to that international stage. At this point, I just don't think that the system works, but completely axing it a few weeks before the start of a new season is absolutely ludicrous. I mean, bro, I get it. Look, the Cloud9 Academy team that won last year, none of the players got called up to the big league. And now because of these changes, this same team is gone because C9 no longer wants to field a Challengers team. Make that make sense. So with that being said, the Players Association took a vote on a walkout and it passed with unanimous vote. And with that walkout, they released a list of requests as well, most of which seem rather reasonable if you ask me. On the salary standpoint though, if we're being honest, maybe I'm reading this wrong, but it feels like the Players Association really wants to pass the bill of the players on to Riot. And admittedly, I don't watch very much of League of Legends, so I can't personally attest to the popularity of the Challenger circuit when it comes to North America, but apparently it's not good. And if the league's not making money, where are they supposed to be getting the money for these salaries from, right? They can't print money. They're not Mr. Beast, you know what I mean? Now, devil's advocate point here, allowing new entrants into the league like DSG is doing? No, stay focused. DSG is also fielding a Challengers League team for League of Legends. We're past the Valorant talk for now. But allowing new entrants like DSG can allow for a revitalization of the Challengers scene, similar to like we've seen in Valorant.
I think you just lied.
Okay, now we're past the Valorant talk.
Everything I say is a lie.
For now.
Except that.
The biggest problem right now being is that there's just no resolve to the walkout. I mean, sure, LCS is postponed for 2 weeks in an attempt to try and get the two sides to come to some sort of an agreement. But Riot has already stated that if the orgs are unable to field themselves some teams for said games, that they'll just shut down the summer split for North America, which means North America has to sacrifice their chance for representation when it comes to Worlds. Alright, hold up. While one of my editors was working on this, news broke out that longtime veteran Double Shift had some comments about the walkout.
I guess, like, I want to say that I care. I'm not, like, so gung-ho about it that I'm willing to not play Summer Split.
They don't care about you. At some point, you have to put your foot down. This happened to me in esports. It just blows my mind how many people just don't do this. You just don't take a stand against anything.
Now, normally I'd say I'm surprised that a veteran would be the first one to break the picket line. It most certainly wouldn't be the first time I've seen someone chasing a farewell tour, though.
Chasing that farewell tour, they don't love you like that.
By 17, by 46.
And more than likely, that's going to cause Riot to double down, so things are definitely getting interesting. But is 1 year of friction in one region enough to maybe cause some change in the esports industry for the greater good? Or is this actually Riot tanking the LCS in order to destroy the money-burning monster that it created? Oh, and I realized I forgot to mention what happened to DSG after they picked up El Diablo, America's most feared player just a year ago. Well, they went 0-5, and now people like me can't help but think that Ye's fallen off. But that's not what this video's about. That's what this video's about. Anyway, all of this is yet to be seen, and we've only got another week or so to see how everything unfolds, so definitely feel free to let me know your thoughts down in those comments below. And depending on how much y'all seem to have interest in the LCS walkout, I'll be looking at doing another video come the end of next week.